On a night meant to honor one of the greatest Chicago Bulls of all time in Derrick Rose, the Chicago Bulls have a huge second half turnaround and explosion to end up beating the New York Knicks 139 to 126. We're going to talk about it all and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, hosted by Hayes, your number one spot for all things Chicago Bulls.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host, Sir Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into it. And the team made not only the fans proud, they make Derrick Rose proud today. The Chicago Bulls, despite an early deficit and halftime deficit, they turn around, score 41 points in the third quarter of this game, only giving up 17 points, and they score another 35 points in the fourth quarter of this game to win the game 139 to 126. This is the type of performance on a night meant to celebrate a great. That's how you want it to go. That's how you want it to finish, right? The Chicago Bulls did what they needed to do. And listen, you can call me a homer. Maybe I'm too caught up in the moment, but it really felt like this Bulls team was energized by the celebration of Derrick Rose at halftime. It just felt like that way. At least to me, right? I can only speak to me and how I felt about it. And it really felt like when you look at this game, the Chicago Bulls were down by 9 points in the first half of this game to come out after Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah and Neil Funk and Stacey King talked about Derrick Rose, and after Derrick Rose gave this speech built around, do you want to be good or do you want to be great? The Bulls come out of that halftime period, that extended halftime, and they score 41 points, one of their highest scoring quarters of the season. And the energy was just felt. The energy was different. The effort was different defensively. This team had a different swagger about themselves. This is a team in the Chicago Bulls that does not have a lot of identity. But I tell you what, the way that they came out in the second half of this game, if this team played like that every single night in and night out, we'd be looking at this team in a much different light. But that's a story for another day. Tonight, the night was about celebrating Derrick Rose, and it's good that the Bulls came out and they took care of business and got what needed to get done. Coby White and Zach LaVine, they combined for 66 points in this game. 33 points from Zach LaVine, going 13 of 21 from the field, 7 assists, 4 rebounds in this game. Only 2 turnovers from Zach LaVine. Has a plus-minus of +7. Coby White in this game, 11 of 17, 9 for 11 from three-point range, 33 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists in this game. He only had 2 turnovers as well in this game. 15 points from Josh Giddey. He was 2 assists shy of a triple-double. It almost was a Vegemite night tonight, but not quite. But a way better second half from Josh Giddey as well in this game. When you look at the first half versus the second half for Josh Giddey, right? In the first half of this game, Josh Giddey went 1 of 3 from the field. He had 5 points in this game. He did have 4 rebounds, 5 assists. But then you look at the second half of this game for Josh Giddey. Much better. 4 for 7 from the field, 6 rebounds, 3 assists in this game as well. In the second half of this game, he also finishes with a steal and with a block. This overall was a really solid game from Josh Giddey. Jalen Smith had 10 points, 5 rebounds. Lonzo Ball had 8 points, 6 assists, 2 rebounds in this game. But the stat sheet really doesn't indicate how much Lonzo was all over. Hell, he caught an alley-oop from Josh Giddey in this game for a dunk, right? That's why I say the energy in the second half of this game, it was night and day difference. It was night and day difference. And this may be the type of game that wakes Coby White out of his slump. I know all Bulls fans are hoping that that's the case, that they're going to be able to get it done. We'll see. Vooch as well with 22 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal in this game. Much better second half for Nikola Vucevic as well in this game. You look at the first half for Vooch. In the first half of this game, he only had 7 points. 7 points in the first half of this game. He turns that around in the second half, and yes, the guards identified. They got the ball to him quicker, faster. He went 7 of 13 in the second half for 15 points in this game. And this was just a game where the Bulls just out hustled the New York Knicks in the second half of this game. And I know there are going to be people that say, well, the Knicks were playing a second of a back-to-back. A lot of their starters played 40 minutes last night against the OKC Thunder. And you're right. But here's what I'm going to tell y'all. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't care about the excuses for the New York Knicks. I don't care that they played the second of a back-to-back because nobody would have gave a shit if it was the Chicago Bulls. I don't care that it was the second of a back-to-back. Tough titty said the kitty. I don't give a damn about that. Shout out to my dad for that saying. He used to say that when he was telling us to basically get over shit as a kid. But the Bulls did give up 72 points in the paint today, which is a little bit concerning as well. We also gave up 21 second chance points and 9 points off turnovers. The Bulls need to watch that. They need to get that together. But listen, I'm going to be my most homer today. I'm usually very critical of the Chicago Bulls. Honestly, I'm very honest in reviewing the Bulls game and things like that. I don't give a damn about none of that. The Bulls got the dub on Derrick Rose Day. That's the most important thing. This is our Super Bowl. This is our championship. That's what this was, right? The Bulls may lose the next 4 games straight. I tell you what, the way I'm feeling right now, I don't care. I love that the Bulls got a dub today. Sorry, I didn't have my headphones on. What up, Kev?
Hey, we needed this, bro. We needed this.
I wasn't even looking at the screen, bro. I looked down. I'm like, shit, Kev in here, bro. How'd you feel about the game, bro?
I felt great. Like, even at halftime, like, I feel like the Bulls went to halftime and watched that halftime show and used it as motivation to light a fire under their ass and come out and play good basketball. They put up 41 points in that third quarter, and it was pretty much the Knicks trying to fight back for the rest of the night. Karl-Anthony Towns had a great game. Jalen Brunson had a great first half. But besides that, the Chicago Bulls, they hit 23s. They weren't turning the ball over. They weren't lackadaisical. And they got what they needed from their big 3 or their big 2 or whatever you want to call it, their big 4 with Giddey, LaVine, Vucevic, and Coby White. Coby White hit 8 threes tonight, bro. Like 8 of them.
9 threes, a career high. Yep.
9 threes for Coby White. So, like, you just can't really find too many things wrong. And guess what? Billy Donovan called timeout when he needed to call timeout in that second half several times to stop whatever momentum the Knicks was trying to pick up. They used what Derrick Rose came out and said and all the different people that gave their speeches as momentum. I loved it. As motivation, I loved it, bro. It was lit.
Yeah, this was the exact experience, man. That it couldn't go on more perfect, bro. And I say that. I know people will say, well, what if they weren't down by the second half? But I think that actually adds to the excitement of the night. The fact that the Bulls were down by 9 points at the end of the first half, and they came back in this fashion after that speech by Derrick Rose. I can't think of a picture perfect night, to be honest with you, bro.
No, it was exactly how it was supposed to go, and I know that. Derrick Rose, his brothers, his family, his former teammates, everybody was lit there tonight. This is one of those situations where it's like you should have been there. It was a playoff atmosphere. The United Center was rocking tonight. The Madhouse on Madison was back. I enjoyed it, man. Like, even Jalen Smith came in and got in on the action. Out of all the starters, the only one that didn't really show up was Patrick Williams, and that's not even surprising. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, but listen, Patrick Williams had some really important defensive assignments today. Like, yeah, we need him to shoot better. There's no excuse for that. P. Will has to be more aggressive at times, especially when you look at the first half deficit of being down by 9 points. But in the second half of this game, the way that Coby and Zach LaVine and Vooch, for that matter, were scoring, he needed to play a role player. He needed to support those starters, and Jalen Smith, Lonzo Ball, they also contributed big time in the second half.
Even Josh Giddey.
Yeah, Josh Giddey. I was talking about that before you joined on. He had a really important second half in this game. You look at Josh Giddey and the way that he improved in the first half of this game. Josh Giddey, he shot 1 for 3 from the field. In the first half, 1 for 3. In the second half, 4 for 7 for 10 points. Like, and he also almost he was 2 assists shy from having a triple double.
And we can't ignore defense, right?
Yeah.
The Chicago Bulls outscored the New York Knicks 41-17 in the third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And this is they've beaten the Knicks twice this season, and it was the same way in the first game. They gave up 123 points in the first game and won, 126 points in the second game and won. And you give up that many points, you can't really think about defense. Well, you don't usually think about defense. But that third quarter, they were all over the place, and it just led to a win. Like, if it wasn't for that third quarter, the Chicago Bulls are probably looking at an L tonight.
Oh, facts. Like, yeah, if you let the Knicks build off that momentum they had in the first half of this game and don't come out and snuff them out in the third quarter like you did, yeah, this is probably a loss for the Bulls. That's why that momentum shift that they came in with was it was the story of the game. If you don't come in with that type of energy coming out of that first half, we're talking about a completely different night. You may even be talking about a blowout, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, and listen, Kobe was focused and Zach was focused. And when you got your two main scorers, now Vooch is also one of the main scorers, but we're talking about people who create with the ball in their hands. Not necessarily Vooch. Vooch is a post-up player; he can catch and shoot. But you need your players like Kobe and like Zach to go out there and create and dominate. And they were dominant tonight versus a really good Knicks team who've won 9 of the last 10 games. So listen, the Bulls could have easily rolled over tonight. They could have easily allowed the emotions of tonight to be overwhelming and go out there and play like they played the other night versus the Washington Wizards, but they didn't. Hopefully, this can turn into something bigger than just winning and then losing and then winning and then losing like they've been all season. Let's see if they can sustain some 3, 4, 5 game winning streaks going forward and maybe become a much better team that they've showed us because they have the talent. We've noticed about the Chicago Bulls. They have the talent, they just don't have the consistency.
Yeah, I mean they do, and the thing is that to have consistency, you can't rely like yes, the Bulls have nights like this where they get hot, and that's really one of the biggest things limiting the team. Yeah, they suck defensively, but it's not just that. It's that the Bulls are if they're not playing with a ton of momentum, they get easily thrown off, and once you get thrown off because you don't have a defense, because you don't have really good half court offense to rely on, teams that have that are going to be able to get over you. So the Bulls just really need to discover some identity, and I put a lot of that as well on Billy Donovan and this coaching staff because like what are you doing coaching wise? Like I don't see anything coaching wise that's like oh yeah they coach these players up to do XYZ or anything like that. Like it really just comes down to momentum and if you're hitting your shots.
If not just your shots, if you're hitting your threes.
Yeah,
You've seen the
yeah,
Bulls shoot 50, 45, 60 threes even. And if they're not falling, they're going to lose.
yeah.
That's just the nature and the identity of this team. And it's unfortunate because they have enough talent to counterbalance those things. Like, okay, our threes aren't falling. Let's make some adjustments. And that's what we need the coaching staff to step in and say, you know what? Let's slow it down. Let's feed Vooch in the post. But we've been screaming that for 3 or 4 years now. Hayes, it's just not gonna happen, bro.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing that this team falls short on. It's just the things that are supposed to be simple in basketball, they fall short at that. But that's a story for another day. Kev, I didn't get to talk to you at halftime. How'd you feel about the Derrick Rose halftime ceremony, brother?
I mean, it's 7-4 to the world blow up, bro. A little thug tear fell out a little bit. Yeah, it is what it is. It felt good. Not only just to hear the different stories from the people that got to speak, but to see Derrick Rose be a man standing out there. He
Yeah.
wasn't just the kid from the south side of Chicago anymore. He's a man. He understands who he is and what he represents, and he knows that it's bigger than the game at this point. At one point, it was just all about basketball and trying to be the best basketball player. But now he's trying to be the best father. He's trying to be the best businessman. I'm not mad at it, bro. It was a very, very heart-wrenching, tear-jerking situation that you saw people shedding tears in the stadium. I'm pretty sure there were people watching it on TV all around Chicago, all around the world even, shedding a few tears, just thinking about how far this young man has come. It was great to see.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing that we've really echoed here in our conversations. It's the maturity, the maturation, like seeing Derrick Rose go from being drafted here as a kid, a legit kid, to the man that he is now is huge. And I love how he ended it and just saying that now it's about Derrick Rose, the businessman. And we'll see what
Yeah.
that holds in store for Derrick. But I know he's going to do a lot for the city of Chicago. I have no doubts about that. And that's going to be great to watch and see. I honestly thought they're going to have more people talk. I know they only had 20 minutes, so you can only do so much.
Mhm.
But that Joe Kim Noah speech, man,
Yeah.
one thing that you can tell Joe legitimately loves Derrick Rose. And I love seeing that.
Well, you can tell they're brothers. And shout out to
Yeah.
David Stern for rigging the draft for us to even be able to get him to begin with. But yeah, you can tell that they love each other, and not just him and Joakim, but him and Joakim might be the closest people from that stretch, that run. Like the two of them are the brothers, but like Luol is still in there. Taj is still in there. And if Taj wasn't still playing, he would have been there tonight, probably
Mhm.
possibly even speaking as well as Joakim, because they all came around the same time. I wish we would have got to see some Kirk Heinrich as well.
Was he there? I didn't see him.
I
Ben
didn't
Gordon
see
was
him.
there. I didn't see. He didn't take a picture with everybody, but they showed him up when they showed people in the box. He
Oh,
was
shout
there,
out
so
to
Ben
Ben
Gordon was
Gordon.
there. Yeah, shout out
I
to
didn't
Ben
see
Gordon.
him, but I thought it was appropriate. The people like especially Stacey King, who kind of made his bones during that Derrick Rose bench mob Chicago Bulls era. And of course Neil Funk's been here forever, so I thought it was appropriate to have those guys who watched him grow up as a player, and then Joakim just being his right hand man. And then we saw what Joakim did after Derrick Rose was hurt, getting some MVP votes, getting Defensive Player of the Year, running that point center position. Like that wasn't even something that you even considered at the time. A
At
point
that
center
time,
was
yeah.
unheard of. So now you got like Joakim, quiet as it kept, it was the first Jokic. Like, in terms of that point center that was
Yeah,
getting
I can see what
assists.
you're talking
He
about.
wasn't
Yeah.
shooting threes because he didn't have that, but he was bringing the ball up court and initiating the offense. So shout out to him for that, for sure.
For sure. And I think too, like you mentioned how Joakim Noah and Derek are the two closest teammates from that time period. You correct me if I'm wrong. I think that Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah are the two closest Bulls teammates of all time. Like finding out how Pippen and Jordan were never really that close, right? Like and Rodman was kind of even on the outside looking in from that. Like I don't know if the Bulls have ever like because it's not just on the court, they're brothers in life, like throughout life. And Pippen and Jordan, we may never see them in the same spot again. Like we don't know.
Yeah, them boys were business associates.
Yeah,
They did what they were supposed to do.
they were
Honestly,
coworkers.
it reminds me of how we do things over here on the Chi-Town Sports Network. Like, is everybody we all rock with each other. It's not just on the screen when we recording and we're doing our different shows, but we talk every day. We know each other's families and we know our kids, and we share big moments with each other, and that's how we grew to become brothers, as opposed to just people who know each other on YouTube.
Yeah,
We've only seen each other a few times in person. I think I've only seen you one time in person. But if I got a
yeah.
phone call like, "Hey, they outside my house with them choppers," I'm on my way. It is what it is. It is what it is. So you could tell that that's what it is. And I'm pretty sure that Joakim and D Rose also have other people. I'm pretty sure Luol is also a part of that. Pretty sure Taj is also a part of that as well. So it's deeper than just basketball. And when you can develop that type of bond, you develop lifelong relationships with people.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Let's get back into basketball before you make it sappy there, Kev, because I love you, brother. You know that.
Of course, love you too, man. 2025, we in here, baby.
But let me ask you this. So one of the biggest conversations that have been made on the basketball court is kind of how the Kobe and Giddey fit hasn't really been seamless. Billy Donovan talked about the before Giddey's ankle injury kind of re-aggravated itself and before Kobe went down as well. Like he felt like they were starting to find their chemistry. This was one of those games where I felt like you're seeing the blueprints of how their chemistry could work. We saw Josh Giddey bring the ball up. There were times where he gave the ball early in the shot clock to Kobe. Kobe got some time to try to create, drive to the lane, things like that. And Kobe also passed out pretty well. You see Josh Giddey still almost get a triple-double. Coby White put up 33 points. And there wasn't really, outside of the struggles in the first and second quarter, there wasn't really a time where I felt like they were forcing the fit. It seemed like they're really learning how to play off each other. How do you feel about that?
They got to do it. Like, you have to do it. And again, this is one of those games where Zach scored 30 and the Bulls won, but he can't be the only one scoring.
Yeah.
So you saw what it looks like with Giddey running the show, and by proxy Lonzo Ball running the show, and Kobe and Zach both also getting off. I think they combined for 12 for 16 from three, or 12 for 14 from three between the two of them. Like, it was something like that. So you got to give Giddey credit, and again, you got to give Billy Donovan credit also for doing the rotations that he did tonight. Like, there was a stretch where it's like, why'd you take Kobe out? He's super hot. Why you take him out? But we know these guys got to get some type of rest. I liked the dynamic between all of them, including Lonzo Ball, because I got to include Lonzo Ball with any conversation with Josh Giddey, because they play very similar type basketball. And it's complementary. They complement each other. when they're both on the court at separate times, leading this offense and running this offense. It's what the Chicago Bulls needed. It's what they need consistently from Josh Giddey. He doesn't give it to us consistently enough so far. This is a season-long audition for him to see if they're going to bring him back. We know what he wants in terms of what we've heard as far as the contract is concerned. We're going to see if he can continue to do it. But the Chicago Bulls are in a weird position right now where they're going to have to decide real soon whether or not they want to make a push for the playoffs or if they want to tank. And it's the same situation they've been in the last 3 seasons.
There's nothing new here, right? But they did say, I mean, we heard the 35 game evaluation. This was game number 35. So we'll see what happens at that point. I do like the way that the ball was moving today. 8 assists from Josh Giddey, 7 assists from Zach LaVine, 6 assists from Lonzo Ball, 5 assists for Patrick Williams, and 3 each from Nikola Vucevic and Coby White. Out of the 36 assists tonight, it created 87 points, and we had 6 turnovers off bad passes. We had other turnovers in the game, but as far as the moving the ball around, only 6 of those were off bad passes. That's kind of where the Bulls need to try to hover around. 30 assists is where they need to try to hover around each game, especially with the fact that our team is 90% guards. You should be able to pass the ball pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, but let's just be frank. Like they made their free throws. We don't get that much respect from the refs usually. So to go 17 from 18 from free throws is big. But 20 for 37 from 3, like, like that's what we were talking about. Stop shooting 50, 63s. 43s is okay when you're shooting 55% from the field. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They shot 54.3% from the field and 54.1% from 3. There are times when we see the Bulls go 20 for 45, 20 for 50, which isn't bad, but when you're attacking the basket, good results happen. And tonight, the Chicago Bulls did that. They got to the basket at a higher clip than they have pretty much all season.
Yeah, I think we scored, if I'm not mistaken, it was over 50 points in the paint today. Give me 1 second. I could verify that. 56 points in the paint by the Chicago Bulls today. Now, we gave up 72, but, you know, that is what it is.
When you hit 23s and also score 56 points in the paint, like that's a recipe for success.
That's a great night. And this is how Josh Giddey can help. For those that always ask, like, Josh Giddey tonight had 8 assists. He created 18 points other than his points that he scored off just his passes, and he only had 2 turnovers. He was a 4-to-1 assist to turnover ratio today. That's what you want a point guard to do. We know that he can't shoot very well or very consistently. It's okay, right? As far as when you have a team that's shooting as well as what they did tonight. But that's how that balance can strike out, and I love seeing that.
Yeah, but like here's the thing, like because the 3-point was falling, it was falling tonight. The defense was trying to run them off the line, which led to more layups. But you also have to create those as well when the threes aren't falling. And that's where the Bulls kind of have their disconnect. Like, okay, we just shot 7 threes in a row and hit 1 of them. We're going to shoot 8 more. No, attack the basket. Please attack the basket. So that's what I'm looking forward to the Bulls, or forward to regarding the Bulls over the next 2 weeks or so. They have an opportunity here, Hayes, to get to 500 over the next week or so. And if they do so, then it's going to put more pressure on the front office to make some really tough decisions, because the Eastern Conference is not like the Western Conference this year. Last year, the Eastern and the Western Conference were both kind of, you know, in the same vein where, like, you know, you had the top tier teams and then everybody else is fighting like 4 through 8, 4 through 10. But it's not the same right now. Everybody has an opportunity to get into that top 5, top 6 right now. The Bulls got a chance, bro. They got a chance. It's just I don't want to get my hopes up too much because it's the Bulls.
Yeah, I mean, out of our next 8 games, 6 of those games are against teams below 500. So this is going to be one of those. It's going to be an important for run, because if the Bulls beat those 6 teams that are below 500, as much as I've been telling people, like, technically the Bulls haven't won too many games to keep a top 10 pick, this run could make that over null and void. So the Bulls are going to have to make their decision on what they're trying to do and what they're trying to accomplish this season, if they haven't already. They may have. I mean, we're seeing them compete every single night. But that confirmation will come if something doesn't happen soon.
Yeah, they win 4 out of the next 6. They're a 500 team.
Yeah. So, yeah, and at that point, man, you got to ask, especially now as well with the Detroit Pistons losing Jaden Ivey for the rest of the season. We'll see where the Bulls sit, man.
Except tonight, though, boy, them boys beat the brakes off Minnesota.
Man, listen.
had 51.
Bro. I don't understand. Like, well, let me not say I don't understand, but it's so crazy how a coach that actually believes in your roster can change some things. Because Monty Williams, I always say that he did not believe in that. They had to make him the highest paid coach in the league and offer the job to him 3 times for him to take it. JB Bickerstaff has come in there. He has a system. He executed. He believes in those young guys. And we're seeing them play some of the best basketball of their careers over there, man.
Oh, absolutely, man. Well, we knew what Kate Cunningham had. It's more so Malik Beasley off the bench. Like Malik Beasley off the bench is my bad. That's my alarm to pray for my wife every night. But sorry about that.
Respect.
But Malik Beasley is the sixth man of the year candidate right now. And tonight he came in and led those guys to a win. I mean, obviously Kate Cunningham and the rest of those starters. But when you have a player of Anthony Edwards' caliber going out there and just lighting it up, it just makes me think about how stupid Minnesota was to trade Karl Anthony Towns, who had another monster night tonight, by the way, before he left with an injury. Like, how do you invest in Rudy Big Useless Gobert like that? Like, he's not giving you anything offensively when you know Karl Anthony Towns can at least give you 10 rebounds and 25 points every night. Like, why would you do that? So Minnesota tweaked, bro. They tweaked.
I agree, but I think that move was more financially driven than anything, to be honest with you. And I think we're going to see more and more of that, of teams that just they're terrified of getting too close to that second tax apron. I think that's where Minnesota was.
It was dumb.
But yeah, they've definitely taken a step back as a team. That's for sure.
That was dumb because if you start winning championships, you become like Golden State and your value goes up and up and up. Like, that's silly. And you knew Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns had a relationship, a strong relationship, and you broke that up. And then Hayes, on top of that, they reinvested with Gobert. They gave him another extension after that. That was just silly to me. But back to the Bulls. I love what I saw after halftime, bro. You could tell that they were definitely motivated by what they saw from D Rose and what he means to the city. Not just to the city, but to basketball overall. I think that really lit a fire under those guys. They was in halftime and they started pushing each other around in the locker room.
Yeah.
They started hyping each other up, and they came out with that energy.
Yeah, they just got to find a way to tap into that more, man. That's why not having identity, not having a leader, whether on the sideline or really in your locker room, like that boisterous leader. And man, the only thing that I would have rather see, the only thing that would have made tonight even more perfect is if Ayo Dosunmu played. That's it.
Yeah, Chi-Town. We had THT, a Chicago product. We also had Catfish out there on the bench. So it's a couple of Chicago products out there. But even without Ayo, it was a perfect night, bro. Like, to see the way they played in that third quarter and to see them maintain it in the fourth quarter, because a couple of seasons in the past, it was the third quarter that caused issues for the Bulls, but it's been the fourth quarter this season, and we didn't see that tonight. This time in the fourth quarter, they stayed focused and got the dub.
And that is the most important thing. They got the win. We got a couple of days off. When we play again on Monday. Let's see. The schedule's been so crazy this year, bro. Like, I feel like it's some weeks where we play 2 games, some feels like we play
December
4.
was slow because of the play-in tournament.
The play-in tournament. So we play Monday against San Antonio. Then we got Indiana Wednesday, Washington Friday, and Sacramento next Sunday.
Hey, San Antonio gonna be a tough game.
Wemby is starting a real tough game.
Like, that dude is starting to look like he belongs.
Hey, bro, I tell you what, and the fact that we're seeing and Wemby's doing what he's doing, and he's not even nearly a finished product yet, not even close to a finished product yet.
He's like 20.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy, and
it's not that crazy when you 7'6". Like, he better be, bro.
But it's not even just because he's 7'6". It's that he can shoot, he block shots at a crazy rate, rebound, he can handle the ball like a guard. Like, Wemby's literally what people used to try to make their creative player.
Porzingis. He's what people thought Porzingis was.
That's a fact. That's a fact, bro. That's a fact.
It's a beautiful thing. And hopefully he stays healthy. Just he's a little brittle in terms of size and shape, but if he stays healthy, we're looking at one of the all-time greats.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna go. Yeah, I mean, as long as he stays healthy, he's in the right system. They got to find him a running mate, I think, long term. Which, reportedly they may be shopping for at this deadline, but we'll see what happens with that one. We had a super chat. I hate it when, like, not that I hate it, but when we have when the live chat's popping, I hate that the super chats disappeared.
I didn't see it.
It was from Brandon L. Jet.
Let me scroll up.
Yeah, I think it's gone.
No, I'm gonna scroll up. You go ahead and keep talking. BLJ, just say what you said again, just in case I can't find it.
Let's see. Oh, wait. You can sort it by this. Got it. BL Jet says, winning outro, please. Oh, got you, bro. Say less on that. Say less on that. We want to thank you guys for tuning in, man. Make sure you guys are following the channel at Bull Central Pod. If you guys are new here, don't be a freeloader. Hit that subscribe button, man. We're trying to get to 25,000 subscribers by the end of the season. Make sure you check out the rest of the network as well. We got Chicago Bulls Central, Chicago Bears Central, Chicago White Sox Central, Chicago Cubs Central, Chicago Blackhawks Central, Chicago Sky Central. Basically, put your favorite Chicago Sky team and put Central after it.
NBA Central
as well.
Shy Bulls Central, Shy Bulls podcast.
We got everything, bro. Like if we got you covered. Especially go over to NBA Central. We're trying to grow that channel, putting in a lot of work. Me and Kev over there. Any parting words, Kev, before we get out of here?
Shout out to Derrick Rose. Man, that nigga nice.
You guys, man, thank you guys so much. You're the best part of this channel, man. And like 10 everything on. Love you guys. Go Bulls. See red, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.